17th, 2023. First order of business will be the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to change one thing on the agenda. I want to move up to approve selection of the mayor pro tem. We better do that just because I'm here and Dennis is. So, we'll just make that change. Otherwise, is everybody okay with the rest of the agenda? So I'm looking to approve the selection of the mayor pro tem.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll go ahead and move on to approve the 12/19/22 regular council meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion to. I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
To approve the claims, list of claims for December 2022.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
To accept the account balances and financial statements for general and water sewer funds as of 12/31/22.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. To approve the designation of city attorney Freiberger, Buchanan, Smith, and Frederick.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. To approve the designation of the official city newspaper, Grand Lake Gazette.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. To approve the designation of depositories of Bremer Bank, Golden State Bank, Star Triple Credit Union.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I've got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To approve the 2023 appointments to various committees.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. To approve resolution 2023-01, electronic fund transfers.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. To set a date in February for performance reviews.
One thing, Jim asked it to be on Monday or Wednesdays, if possible.
Wednesday, February 1st, or Monday the
Well,
6th?
after Dennis gets back.
Wednesday, yeah, but we're gonna be gone February 8th. I'm gonna be gone February 8th, and I'll be back in town on the 20th. And then I gotta leave again on the 24th. I'll be back on the 28th. I mean, so when's Dennis get back?
He'll be back on the 12th.
So the 22nd looks like, or the 13th. It'll have to be the 22nd.
Because Wilbur won't be
Monday or
here.
Wednesday.
Wilbur won't be here at all for that.
I'll be gone
So,
February 8th to March 8th.
February
Or do
22nd.
we want to just do it when we're not here? You guys just do your thing, we can talk about it before, what our feelings are.
You won't be here for the 22nd, Todd.
I'll be here on the 22nd.
We won't be here.
Wilbur won't be.
So then let's just do the 22nd.
Do
Can
the
we do
22nd?
Yeah,
I'll be back on the 22nd.
okay.
So we'll make that, so, performance appraisals then will be on February 22nd at 5 o'clock, or what?
Sure. Is that Wednesday?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is.
Or do we need to do it at 5:30 when Jen gets off work, or you want to just have her come in,
Should we
just have somebody cover at 5? Or do we want,
No, other people can go
or
before.
do we want to do mix at 4:30, or so he can just be done and go home?
Yeah.
I can make 4:30.
I can too, that's not a
Yeah,
problem.
that's not a problem.
Let's start at 4:30, then we'll just go from there, we'll just wait for Jen.
Okay.
To approve the contract with the McDonald and Matt Architects to conduct Ranier Community Building.
Conditions. I'll make that motion.
Oh, that's based on the Historical Society grant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to approve not waiving the statutory court limits on LMCIT liability coverage waiver.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to accept the December 2022 liquor store operating statement.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve peer project update option.
Is there any more discussion on this? Or?
Any more discussion?
Well, I mean, the minutes stated that SEH wanted the council to fine tune what it actually wants going forward with the recent price change. Again, my part to this conversation is to reassess the entire project as it sits. The LCCMR does consider changes, major changes to projects due to unforeseen circumstances, like the boring that came back that we could not have known how it would come back until it was actually completed. I still think there's room to complete the narrative as we originally published it in all of our grant applications. I just have continually said that this is going to cost more and more and more. And people seem to think that just because it initially isn't coming out of our city's general fund, that it's coming from the state, that means that we're free of the other risk that comes with a project that costs this much money. And SEH brought forth the $4.5 to $4.7 million option for option number 3 with a medium risk of construction cost changes. And that typically means always more money. Very rarely does it mean you get off a little bit cheaper. So we have a medium risk in the option that SEH is recommending to even go higher than that in conjunction with the way construction is going, in conjunction with the way inflation is going and shortages and these possible construction cost changes. I have been pushing since the beginning of this project that it has not been transparent enough in the beginning, and also with the fact that these meetings that we have with the stakeholders and residents are not public, and we're not public and are not public, and we're just gonna push this through regardless, when we can go back to the LCCMR and tell them what's happened, tell them the boring came back bad or not ideal, or in our engineers' words, not ideal. There's room for us to figure out whether we can change the project and not have to pay any of this money back. We don't know that for sure, but it is an avenue that we can pursue. I don't think we should just say, hey, let's ask the state for more money for this $5 million pier. And this is feedback that I've gotten from multiple residents, and I understand that there is I wouldn't say a lot of support, but support for the pier itself on this council, but I feel that it is my duty to say publicly that I think this is too much money. I think it's too big of a project, and I think we're being impractical as a small community to not pursue something more reasonable. And so I can't support this as it sits now, and I would be for tabling this to find out if the LCCMR could work with us to see if there's a possibility to change this and to figure out something better. And maybe that's not an option, but I think it's something that as a city council, it's our responsibility to check into. now that we have our boring samples back, and now that we know the risks.
I think that, I agree with you on some of that, but I think we should let them update the option to see what it's actually gonna cost, because I know we had made the motion or the recommendation that if it comes back that we're not happy with it, we can scale it back, then we can talk to LMCR. I just think I'd like to see what they come up with.
So,
Plus Dennis is gonna be here tomorrow, I guess.
Are you asking, so I want everything to be clear because it's not completely clear to me, and it's also not completely clear to those who did come to the meeting and read the minutes. This motion is to approve the peer update option, which we are asking FCH to come back with a price tag for the third option, and once that third option comes back, then we decide as a council to go forward with
Correct.
asking for more money.
Or make adjustments.
So
or-
this vote is not to change our capital bonding request.
No.
Correct? Am I correct?
Yep.
Well, that's not what the engineers want to do.
We want to see what they're going to say.
He's gonna come back and tell
They'll
us
let-
what this other option would cost, and we don't have to accept it.
You have to get it in the process. You have to get it
Right.
in through the legislative staff, and it has to be timely.
So they're
Right.
wanting us to rush into this project. We can't, so what I'm understanding is that we want to know what it's going to cost for the third option, but it sounds like Cheryl's saying that we also have to change our verbiage or our language in the bonding bill request. Am I understanding this? So this is a 2-4, this isn't a 1-4.
So it behoove us to get that information from the engineers ASAP so we can make a decision.
But once you get the bonding bill request and they give it to us and we get a price take back of $5.1 million and we're off by $300,000, what happens then?
Give the money back,
Or scale it down.
scale it down.
That's my impression.
I don't understand why we keep pushing forward when this is just gonna get more costly and riskier. As I understand, having poured over these documents, I have to say that we either need to table this to figure out what we can do through the LCCMR and adjusting this and coming up with a new plan, or I can't support it, I can't.
I'm supporting it until we find out what it's going to cost for option 3. I'm not going to go ahead and
I don't
put it down
support
when I
option.
don't know what the price is for
Right.
option
The
3.
price is already at 4.6 to 4.7. Even if they come back with 4.2, are you comfortable?
No.
With a, it's just a very expensive project that's going to continue to get expensive. And I think that that is a liability for a small city like ours.
Well, my feeling on it is let's take a look and see what's going to be for the third option. And if it comes in more than 4.7, we'll scale it down as far as we can. Otherwise, if we do not, the government they have that boat tax money, that LCMR. It's bought and paid for by the tourism people that use the lakes. And they're going to take and give that money to other communities to help improve their marina, because we are a marina city.
Maybe it's not a proper fit as judging by the boring samples that came back.
When this all came up, I thought 285-foot long dock was too much. I don't see that we need one that long out there. I'm willing to go down to 150 or 175 feet. All I want to know is what if they're going to do this, whatever that bridge, what is it called?
The problem is I pushed for other alternatives, and when you go back and look at the 3 alternatives that the committee came up with, they were all just as large or just in a different shape, but just as large. They were never interested in coming up with something that was what, in my opinion, acceptable size for the city. They made it that large because they wanted the federal big grant. They wanted that federal grant, and in order to apply, they had to offer all these extra amenities, otherwise they couldn't apply for it. So once they applied for that, they kept everything standard after they were denied the federal grant, and kept it the same and going forward through the LCCMR. And I just feel like that was inappropriate. They should have adjusted it, they should have done more survey work with the community, and then we would, I just feel we don't have the community support for a project of this cost. And I could be wrong, but I'm here to make a point, and that's my job as I feel as a counselor, and just, I know there's disagreement, and I just respectfully disagree on going forward as the project stands now. So that's all I have to add.
So my understanding is that we are not approving of them to go forward, we're just approving of a new
We
plan.
want an updated plan, an option, to see what.
If they're gonna charge us to prove it, if they say it's gonna be 4.7 million, I wanna see it.
And how much time do we have, Cheryl?
Well, the bonding bill, I mean, the legislature is over in May. If it's over, you know, if they pass the bonding bill. Which you never know if they're going to pass a bonding bill or not, but the feeling is that there's a lot of money sitting on the table now, and the majority party is in the legislature, the Senate, and the House, and the governor's office, and
I guess I would like to make sure that once, you know, you get these numbers back from the engineering firm and you change that language in the bonding request bill to match that, and then we get that, I mean, then we're in it, unless we decide as a council it's too much. But the odds of this council saying, once you get that bonding money, well, we're not gonna go forward with it. Well, of course, the council's most likely gonna go forward with it because they're gonna have the money sitting there. But then we're still not anticipating the construction cost changes and just the fact that it would be I mean, that's a massive project. There's extra things that may or may not be covered, and that's a huge amount of money to gamble with. So, Cheryl, please correct me if I'm understanding this incorrectly. I just, for minutes purposes and recording purposes, I just want to make sure that it's clear. So, I think that this should be tabled until we get an answer from the LCCMR in regards to our boring, because I'll push for this project to be a smaller thing as hard as I can while I'm able to. And I just believe that's the proper decision, so.
But all we want to approve tonight is to update the option. It's not like we're going to approve the pure project yet, we just need to update the option and see where we stand. Is that what I understand?
That's what I'm understanding.
So, can we get a motion to get it updated, or?
I'll make a motion that we wait till we get the update.
Can we get a second just to get the
Yeah.
update?
I'll go just to get the update, but I'm not gonna approve anything.
so to get,
No, this is just the update option, that's all we're approving.
to get
Just to
an
find out
estimate,
where we
Yeah,
stand.
is that what we're saying?
Yeah, for number 3, for option number 3.
Yep. We just want to see what it's gonna come back at.
Because every time we are asking for estimates and engineering work, that's more cost that eats into our LCCMR funding. So if it comes to the point where it's like, well, you know, we don't want to spend money on looking at other options, it's like, well, that's what we hired them to do, so.
So we got,
I have a question, if I may.
yep,
I talked to Cheryl this morning this afternoon about the cost of the project, the funding that we received. And the way I understand it, we got about 1.7 million, including the 760-some thousand to do the engineering study, plus $1 million. I do believe. And she said we spent about 85,000, 84,000 already. And the question I have is, if you stop this in 6 months or 1 month or 2 months, do we have to pay back the $85,000?
That's something that could be discussed with the LCCMR. And that's what I'm talking about.
Because if it is, moving ahead with option 3 or whatever option the council decides. It's just going to deepen that hole, get that hole deeper. That's probably just a phone call away. Maybe not, I don't know. I can recall.
Right. Well, we do have a motion on the floor, and a second, just to approve the project, to get an update on what it is. So is there any
Just back
discussion?
at 5.3 or 5.4, then that's when you draw the blade right there. Draw the line, sand in the line, or whatever.
So all in favor? All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries, and we'll get speed on that, Cheryl. We'll have to have him come back with that.
Mayor will be back tomorrow too, and I'm sure it's lots of
Yeah.
to say.
Anything under water and sewer? Other business? Open forum?
I think it would have been nice to table it for a phone call anyway, and then move forward instead of spending more money.
Yeah, but we're under the gun in both ways.
What's one day? Or maybe amend the motion and say upon receiving the information from LCMR. That would at least give you some time to think about it. But if we're just digging that hole deeper, that doesn't make any sense. We're going to have to come up with the money. If in fact we have to pay it back. One other thing. I can't remember who's on this committee. I rely on the website and I rely on the minutes, and sometimes I show up, sometimes I'm really busy. You know how retirement is. So I rely on the minutes on the website. There are no minutes up there for committee meetings. I don't know if anybody takes, I don't even know who's on the committee. I do know that, I think you are now, Todd.
No.
Jen, Wilton was, I think, no?
Yeah, it was.
I have no idea who else is. None whatsoever. Is that committee open to the public?
Yeah.
Are they meeting, are they published when they meet?
Good problem.
No, they're not published, and we've been through this with
Right.
earlier, and they don't have to be published. We got a legal opinion that they don't have to be
Oh,
published,
that's great.
and they weren't published.
Then-
Again, that's my comments on the transparency of this and why I ran for office to begin with. I agree with you, and there should be information regarding something like this, and I just try to disseminate as best I can, being that I was able to be on the committee and share that information with anyone who contacts me or asks me or emails me, and to the best of my knowledge, I try to know it backwards and forwards, and I'm not always there with all the information, but I do my best and to disseminate it. But you're right, we don't have,
Even if the minutes are not published, it would be nice to let the citizens know when the meetings are, so that they can attend if they want to. I mean, is it secret?
Because they are open to the public.
But
No,
Because I know Phil Paulbeck has come before, but he's not on the committee.
how is that information put out?
I don't know.
I didn't think that they were open. I thought they were closed because they weren't quorum.
Well, it's open for the pure fact that I know Phil Paulbeck's come to it several times.
It can't be considered truly open because it's not posted. Open meeting law states that if you're going to have a meeting for the public, you typically post it. if I'm
And
not-
it's not a council meeting, so that's,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a council meeting.
And there's not a
no
quorum.
quorum in the room.
There's no voting.
There's no quorum, yeah.
there's no.
All it is that if Mike is interested and you know they got the meeting, you text or call Mike and tell him, there's a meeting, share the,
I mean, am I allowed to do that?
I don't see why you're not.
Am I allowed to do that?
I don't see why not.
Because I remember last year, year before, that was the question on the steering committee specifically was.
Yeah, and whether or not it's legal or not, or you have to or don't have to publish the minutes. Transparency says publish the minutes. The more the people know, the more support the council is going to get. It just doesn't make any sense not to do that. It just doesn't. It looks like people are hiding something. Publish the minutes.
Nobody's ever asked me to publish minutes, and most cities, when you look at their websites, don't. But if anybody, if the council wants the minutes published, they can certainly be published.
I think we should
Sure,
publish
we'll
the
publish the
minutes.
meetings, publish the minutes for the planning meetings.
What's it gonna take?
Yes.
What's it gonna take to publish the meeting minutes? Can we just make a request, can we make an act of,
Just publish them, yeah. Put them on the
do
website.
we need to make a motion as a council? Do we need to put that somewhere?
You can.
We can.
I mean, can I make a motion to publish the steering committee meeting minutes?
You got a motion? Got a second?
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to make sure the steering committee for the pier are published on our website. And that would include the time that we run the meeting, but not always. Because we don't know when the next meeting is.
Sometimes I'm told in a couple days. But the minutes are at least something. And I can, I try to tell people I'm always available to expound on those minutes if they have more questions.
And folks.
When I find out, I'll let you know when the meetings
Do
are.
they
Thanks,
meet once a week or once a
No,
month?
it's
or-
sporadic.
Really irregular based on,
Results of,
Do they meet at people's houses?
no,
or-
it's over Zoom. It's a Zoom meeting typically.
Oh,
I've never met in person since I've been on, and I've been on it for 2 years.
Because it's usually meetings with the engineers to update on the plans of the project.
any other business?
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
How's that?
Got a motion second? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's over.